Hello? Is this thing on? Is that thing on? This is stream 316. I'm going to do a double check if the stream is healthy. The last time I was streaming for 10 minutes. Oh, looks like it is marking. I was streaming for 10 minutes before someone told me that the stream wasn't working. And it was some goof up in the ingress server or ingest, whatever you want to call it. So I had to restart and it was sort of embarrassing. Anyway. Looks like we're doing good today. A strange tear in this CVS wrapper for this cough drop. Makes me wonder where is the rest of the wrapper. Oh, there it is. That's weird. I must have torn it or something. Anyway, just distracted by the weirdest things. Hey there, TS Jost. So I just got back from meeting Adam13531. He's down in my area, so I met him for lunch. He's an awesome guy. And there's Ratmoo. Rat8Hey_RA. I assume the RA is for rat. I did meet Adam, yeah. He's down in my area meeting with in real life friends, and I got to meet him in real life. So yeah, awesome guy. You should check out his stream. He'll be back on Monday probably. But he's obviously not streaming today because he's not in his area. He's in mine. Picture didn't happen. I do have a picture, but it's at one of his friend's house, and I didn't want to dox his friend in any way, so I was going to let Adam share it. But rest assured, I have a picture on my phone. I need to either wait for him to post it or get him to clear it. So, I'm going to try to finish up today the subroutines for my game's NPC. So, there are two big ones that I left that I didn't even really realize I needed to do until yesterday. One of them is, well, both of them are related to doing breadth first searches around an NPC. One of them is to search for places in which to scan for enemy NPCs. The other one is to search for places that the NPC can travel or wander to. Wander, actually a better word. Wander to without leaving their home area. So the anchor is the state variable I'm using to describe the central position or reference point from which the tether ranges are computed. Do I use the word tether anywhere else? Yeah. So I have the concept of a tether where if the NPC goes beyond the max tether range of the anchor, drop all aggro and begin pursuing the anchor. So that's like if you were to kite an enemy too far away from where it normally wanders, it would reach this max tether range. And when that happens, we want to stop pursuing the enemy. Basically drop all aggro, so we'll stop pursuing the enemies and instead pursue the anchor. So go back to base, in other words. And if pursuing the anchor, stop pursuing the anchor if we get to the min tether range. So that, let's say we had 3 monsters and they're all tethered to the same anchor. We don't want them all trying to pile up on top of each other at the anchor point. We're happy to have them just go back near the anchor and then stop. And yeah, I use the word anchor here because later I talk about how the anchor can be moved if traveling, because I don't want NPCs who are in the midst of guiding, let's say guiding a player from one part of a level to another, to have problems where they think that they're too far away from home. So basically the anchor is now a mobile reference point that kind of moves while traveling. And usually when an NPC will be wandering around in a dungeon, they won't be traveling, they'll just be hanging out near their home. So their home will be the anchor. But occasionally, in cases like guiding a player, the anchor will move with the NPC. Sort of, you can think of it as if you're on an escort mission and NPC is following you or you're following the NPC, and they spot you or the NPC spots an enemy. You might charge off and fight the enemy, but at the end of the battle, you wouldn't return all the way to base. You would return back to going along the path you were on, guiding. So I want the same kind of thing here. And once again, I have this cough. I can't get rid of it. So I'm sucking on cough drops, hoping I don't have to cough too much. But if you see me mute the microphone, it's probably because I'm coughing. And if I forget to unmute, like I've done once already, please let me know that I've continued to mute. And then I will feel embarrassed and I will unmute and hopefully not have lost too much of my chit chat. It's reached Sweden? I'm sorry to hear that. Hey there, Rally Monkey. How is you? How are you and the mini Rally Monkeys doing today? Okay. Okay, that's great. I'm still trying to kick the tail end of this cold. I just have this occasional cough now. It's worse if I talk. Maybe I shouldn't talk so much. Oh, I did have an aggro file already? I remember doing this. I'm trying to think what name would encompass testing if something's in aggro range. I mean, I guess I could put it into the same script file. I guess so. Another 18 plus. Sometimes they need more than 18 years. Yeah, I was teasing Rally Monkey before saying, the counter has reset to 0. Reset. Okay, let's try to think of a new use case here related to testing if an enemy is in aggro range. So first we need to do a breadth first search to find the areas in the game we would scan for enemies, right? And we would, we don't want to do that constantly. So we kind of want to keep a cache somewhere. Originally the cache was held in the Lua scripts. So we wanted to migrate that into the game proper, but we haven't done it yet. So maybe I could arrange it so that it's easier to port later. Let's see if I can think of how to do that. You reset the clock, yeah? Alright. Testing if an enemy's in aggro range. Okay, so I guess this would be well, when are we actually checking this in the main script? This part? If enemy is within attack range? How about aggro check? We'll have aggro check not cached, and we'll have another one for aggro check cached. How about we'll say cache hit and then a cache miss? The point of caching it would be to reuse it, right? So we want to try to maximize the number of times we actually hit the cache, minimize the number of times that we miss, and the first time it's not going to be cached. So the way a cache works is it's information you've pre-computed or computed for the first time, and then when you need to do a similar operation the second or third or fourth time, if the information hasn't changed, you could just store what the information was computed the first time and then reuse it in the second and the third time. That's what the cache is. A hit to a cache refers to that the situation, the variables are such that you can use the information in the cache. So what you needed to know was in the cache. A miss refers to if what you need to know isn't in the cache. Even if you have other things in the cache, it's not suitable. So for purposes of my game's NPC aggro check, it would be that perhaps we've cached the attack range of the NPC previously, but now the NPC has kind of moved off a bit, and so that search is old, it's stale. So we'd have to recompute the search area. Right? Should just cache everything you did and said to your first... Yeah, exactly, Rally Monkey. Because then you could just retrieve from cache everything you need to say. And it would be all a bunch of cache hits. Alright. So ultimately there's going to be an act, and we're going to want to call NPC aggro check with some kind of context and some kind of... Actually, that's it, right? Everything should be in the context. The assert I'm wondering if we should just have this directly call pull aggro. That would be the simplest. And we also are going to want to look at the cache, aren't we? Okay, so we're going to look at the cache and we're going to make sure that something, that pull aggro was called. So that means I'm going to want to mock the NPC pull aggro, or aggro pull. Actually, that's going to be difficult because this pulls in the actual NPC aggro. We can still do it if I mock it inside the test though. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I discovered last time that this deep copy of the context is not necessary. I can just make that say context and remove these deep copy calls. I don't think we actually need that. Now I'm regretting not searching and replacing that. Okay, let me comment. Oh, I hit the wrong key again. Accidentally changed the zoom level. I wanted to comment that. I want to make sure that this does not break anything yet. Oh, I never started my. I knew I always forget something. I forgot to start this little guy that I use. So I've been going 11 minutes 59 seconds. Let's set that to 12:05 and then hit start right when it reaches there. There we go. Fixed it. And that did hours, didn't it? So that's not going to work. That should be 0012, and now we're up to 25 on the mark. There we go. Fixed it. Uptime counter fixed. Always forget something. All right. Excuse me. Find where these tests are, run them. Cool, nothing broken. Cool. So I didn't need to do that deep copy of the context. For every one of these tests, the entire script is reparsed, including the fresh new context, so we don't need to worry about anything leaking from one test to another. All right. Let me make the function npc aggro check context, and that there. And let me think about this. I guess we'll do the asserts first. So we're going to expect certain things to be in the deltas, right? So moon unit expect equal the aggro list. Let's just have it aggro on 2 enemies, I guess. 42 and 16, why not? And then we're expecting to find that in context delta npc aggro, right? Okay. So far, so good. Not only should it pull aggro on 2 enemies, I think I'll have it where the aggro initially has one of these already in the list, and then the one that is removed from the list. So we're testing both keeping something in the aggro list, adding something new, and then removing something old. So in the arrange, we'll set this up context.npc.aggro equals 16 and 17. So 16 stays in the aggro list, 17 is removed, and 42 is added. Actually, hold on. Am I leveraging? I guess I can leverage the pull aggro, because what it'll do is it'll just update that for me. If I do, though, I should expect it to be added, the new thing to be added to the end of the list. So that means 42 will come after the 16. I'm stopping to think right now. Does it matter the order? So I think the way I have it, if there's anything in the aggro list, we'll try to pursue the first one, right? Actually, I haven't written this yet, but it's right now. If the order is arbitrary, the NPC might pursue an enemy that's further away than a closer one. Hey there, Red Sky One. How are you today? TSS, you love that modified emote, don't you? Why did they make an RA modification? That wasn't there at the beginning. It's new, right? Is it the year of the rat? Chinese calendar. Yeah. No, I don't want audio.
According to the Chinese Zodiac, 2020...
Die. The little mute thing didn't work. Sorry about that. Let's find one that doesn't have music, or turn off the music first. How about this one in Wikipedia? What is it the year of right now? Actually, I guess I want Zodiac, right? It is the year of the rat. That's my guess. Yeah, because it's the year of the rat. Does that mean next year we'll have Raimu8 Hey _ OX and it'll be like me with horns? Yeah, they're 8 on 90. How are you today? Alright. If we're expecting this, then that means that I'm expecting to use and not mock the pull aggro. And it'll add 42 at the end and remove the 17. Okay, what else do I expect? We want to see that it's that the search area is cached, right? So we'll say moon unit expect equal, and this will be some kind of list of positions in the game. Positions in the current zone, I should say. I'm thinking again when I pause and I stop speaking because I was thinking that the zone that the NPC is in really will not be relevant now. But what if in the future we have an NPC that moves between zones? It'll need to know that the cache needs to be invalidated. Hey there, Nui. It's sort of late for people in the EU watching me right now, right? It's like almost midnight, depending on where you are. I'm honored that you would watch me Friday night so late. 23:08. I'm honored that you would watch me. I don't know if I would watch me this late on a Friday night. Okay, so this would be context. No, I'm not going to store it in the context. This needs to be accessible somehow. I guess I can, well, how can I do this? I guess we could put it into the context. That way it could be checked here. Yeah, so we can expect the context will get added to it. Aggro search. Sure, why not? Watch video series, play games. I don't know, TA's Joss. I have no idea. I don't want to presume. Get you, yeah, there you go. Rally Monkey's got me pegged. Okay, so this doesn't matter so much what I put in this aggro search, does it? Aggro check is gonna do a search. The search will have positions, and then to find enemies in those positions, we're going. Oh, yeah, we're going to be using a couple of not common. What am I thinking? Components. A couple of game functions, right? With entities at position, and then that's probably the only one we need to mock, right? Or do I even need to worry about that? I don't need to worry about that. I just need to create components to make it look like things are at certain positions. So I should have at least 2 different positions. Probably more. I guess it doesn't really matter what the coordinates are. We're not actually putting the NPC in any one position in this test suite, so let me add it here. So context.npc. or context.position, right? would be x equal, I can pick whatever numbers I want here. So let's do 4 and y equals, I don't know, -7, and then zone is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get you to log into my Twitch stream. Slime slaughtering Omni-Arena hero. It's a little early to log into that, but I don't mind if you log into Twitch and watch the stream. I should try to make it realistic, so... And I also want to correct a problem in the first iteration of the test where the search did not include the home position. I should include that here. That should just be that should be the first thing we put in there. And then, I don't know, let's just put some of the adjacent squares. That's probably good enough, right? So then to get that, we're going to, the white box part of this is, we should expect that this is going to call one of these, the one that does the breadth first search. Find reachable places is what it's called. I don't think I kept any references to that around. So I'll probably have to look and see how it works again. Zone, starting position, cost function, and max cost. Okay, that's not too bad. And what does it return? It returns a new kind of object called reachable places. The reachable places looks like a list, I guess, because you can index it. No, you can't. Wonder what this index is for. Oh, so that you can look up these functions. All right. Okay. So, yeah, with the object, you can get them in place order or look things up by index. Okay. So places in cost order sets up a new, right, it's a new table that's a list-like table. And each element is a reachable place, which has a position x, position y, previous x, previous y, and cost. Okay, so... How much do I need to record in here, then? Because according to this, there's also the cost and the previous x and y. I think I want to keep the cost because we'll use that to know if the cache is missed or not. And the index was used to take a position, right? Index of. Right, take an X and a Y, and it looked up in the places to find which one it was. Yeah, so I think I'm going to want to support the, what is it called? I already missed it. I'm already It's reachable place. Cost. So position X, position Y, and cost. Do I want previous X and Y too? I guess I could just pile them all together. With a helper maybe? Let me think about this. Reachable place. How do we compare that type? Hey there, Tuabud. We're working on redoing the breadth first searches that NPCs do to find their enemies and to find where they can wander right now. Hey there, Mamba Dev. How are you? Good evening. I'm trying to remember how I wrote this code the first time. So I'm just going to cheat and look at it. So this is the second time I've written this code because I decided I'm going to take the code I wrote the first time and toss it away and redo it because it was badly designed. But I do want to see certain aspects of it. So I'm going back in time here to look at what did the code look like before in, I think it was Path. Find path. Oh, here we go. Aggro search. I want to specifically look at the test. So NPC path test. Where is that? Year. Find path. Here we go. Aggro search. Oh, I flattened it into an array? Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't test to see what the search would end up being. Probably because I mocked the whole thing, right? Yeah, here I mocked it. Okay. So I'm not. So I'm designing it differently this time. So I can't really do what I did in that code I was just looking at. Yeah, I've been sick. How do I sound? Do I sound like I have a stuffed up nose? I have congestion that comes and goes, but mostly I have this lingering cough. So I'm sucking on some of these cough drops from CVS, which is a local like chain of pharmacy. What do they call them in the UK? They don't call them pharmacists. Chemists? Same stat? Yeah, I just have an ordinary cold, or I did. Hey there, Endurin. How are you today? Apothec. Okay. Got it. All right. Same state. Same state. Got it. Endurin, are you really going to try to 100% that game? That we're talking about The Witness. It's like the last few puzzles in the game The Witness are really time consuming, apparently. Doing fine? That's good. There's a little bit of glare on my blue screen behind me. That's why that bright white artifact is there. Stop with The Witness, you're at 90%? What? Yeah, the last ones are really hard, right? Because there's just so many puzzles, so the ones you missed are like so hard to find. Okay, I'm thinking that to find this the right way, I can't just do one search like that because that thing... Actually, it's just going to be a table because I'm only going to give it a table, right? So I can just fill the whole thing in. It's just going to be onerous. What if I make a helper function for this? Let's see. Let's have a local reachable position to list. It's a function. Actually, it's the other way around. List to reachable function, reachable position. Function list and return list position. X is list 1. And then it was Y, and then the other things in there. Position X, position Y, previous X, previous Y, and cost. Because in the real game that I'm going to try to simulate, each position that you find in a breadth first search is a table that gives you its X and Y, and then a previous X and Y, and a cost to reach there. But I want to show it like I don't want to have to keep repeating these key names because they get too onerous. I want to just have it as a list like this. What if I put for the previous for the origin point? It's going to be a dummy entry anyway. What if I just put the same coordinates with a 0 cost? Unit tests are not common in the area, and there's no good framework for it. I think it might be true that it's not common. I disagree with the good framework, though, because Google Test, I think, is an awesome framework for C and C++. It's made by Google. It follows the XUnit conventions. It's easy to build. It integrates into VS Code. So I think that's a good framework, and it's probably not the only one. Isn't there another one called CPP Unit that's out there? I mean, I guess good is a relative term also. So compared to other things, it might not be as good. I think it's good enough for what I do with it. I'm using Google Test, yeah. So this is Lua right here, but I do have for my C++ stuff a lot of unit tests in C++. Okay, that's not a very good one because it's got a huge string. Actually, if I just go back to JSON, that's probably the easiest. So at the very top will be the simplest kind of test. Yeah, I mean, this integrates well with Test Explorer, right? So I can run individual tests, I can debug them like that. I can show the output log message. So this is what I use for C++ code. So it's Google Test plus Test Explorer and Catch2 Google Test for Test Explorer plugins for VS Code. So all three of those combined gives me the nice user interface here. That as long as why did it jump back? As long as you use the macros that Google Test defines for you, and you include their header and get it into the build system, it's pretty much good. You're pretty much good to go. Bolted onto the side haphazardly. I guess you could say that because when the languages were designed, the concept of unit testing really didn't exist. Whereas with modern languages, you can imagine the unit testing has been around long enough that when they designed some of these languages, they probably thought about it when they were doing the language design. That's true. Unit testing isn't TDD. TDD usually implies unit testing, though, because you design things. Usually, it makes sense to design things from the smallest components up, but not everyone does it that way. So you could be doing testing from a different angle. I can't imagine how you would do that and make it work. The only way I know how to make test-driven development work is with unit tests. I wouldn't know how to do it any other way without doing unit tests. I don't know if it matters if it's C++ or C. The Google Test is a C API, so at least I think it is. Actually, no, maybe not. It might be C++. Depends on what these macros do. Ooh. Okay, C++ only. That's maybe one barrier, is that Google Tests require C++. But you could use it to test C. Your test runner has to be C++. Huh. Contract first approach? Uptime sometimes skips a second? Yeah, that's a bug with OBS. OBS isn't scanning the files at the same cadence that the SNAS tool I use updates them. Excuse me. Well, TSJS, the plugin I use, supports Catch2 also. I don't remember where I heard Google Test from, but for me, it works great. Yeah, so about that uptime skipping, I was thinking about this today too. I, at some point in the near future, want to take a diversion away from my game to work on a, what would you call it? Not an extension, but a custom app that we use with an OBS browser source and overlay. There we go. I want to make a custom overlay app for myself that includes a better version of these timers. They added a puzzle clipping counter in the bottom. Oh, you did. I think I did see one of your streams that had that counter, yeah. TDD, at least as you see, is much more API driven. You're designing and exercise public APIs, which may encompass non-public components. Yeah, well, in the purest sense, an API is just an interface between a programmatic interface between two things. You could say that even the simplest components I have, like hash test, hash. How come it's not showing me the C file for this? Oh, maybe it's SHA-1. There we go. So like this test for SHA-1, right? There is an API for SHA-1 the way I design it, and it's just an object that you can call like a function. That is the API. So I am testing an API that way. So yeah, sure. TDD is all about testing APIs because the way you use even the most fundamental components is through the components API. But then we're just kind of mincing words, right? Also uses the same OBS file input thing. Yeah, so the OBS file input things is mostly okay for things like counters, but if it updates more than once a second, I've seen OBS skip. I mean, I do the same thing with the current tasks right here, right? Blah. And then it updates like within a second. There is a noticeable delay though, so I can understand how it might skip. Took you 5 seconds on average? Oh yeah, so for me, the same machine, it's like a second, around plus or minus, like between 0 and 3 seconds. Oh, I must have written that on Wednesday. This was describing how the back end and the front end of my game coexist. I don't think I need to save that. Okay. Right, so given that, I can do this. Actually, I should have just done it on all these lines. Okay, so here, the previous should be 4 minus 7, 1, and this should be like 5 minus 7, 1, and this is 5 minus 8, 1. I could do that. I could have the uptime be per minute. But I have other reasons why I want to make a custom OBS overlay. One was to replace stream elements completely. So things like the raid notifications to do it myself. What was the other thing? Oh, this custom task to have it be something that doesn't have to be in a file. Or just to integrate that with some of the other things I do. Oh, and I also wanted to have it catch the custom reward stuff. Hello, Gnarly Quack, by the way. I haven't said hi yet. Whatever happens behind the API ends up being opaque. Might be able to implement a number of private classes. Yeah. For what I test with test-driven development, it's usually the innermost or the smallest or the leaf node, so to speak, the most fundamental components. And I've noticed that it becomes harder and harder to test things the higher you go up in the integration. What do you call it? The integration ladder. So you tend to have to mock more and more things. So yeah, I get the most bang for my buck testing the innermost, the smallest components. How you test private methods? The best way to test a private method is to split it up into two things. So you have object A, and object A has a public method A1 and a private method A2. I don't know. What notation do I want to have? How about PA1 or something like that, right? Or PA2. So, what I would do is I would split that up into object A and object PA. Object A has A1 in it. Why? I just can't type today. And object PA would have PA2 in it. And then test these separately. Oh, this is horrible. I don't know how to make notes really quickly. I'm just struggling with this. Why is this so hard for me? You know what I'm trying to say. I'm just not very elegant in saying it. If I have this arrangement and I want to test this, I will split it into two objects, and these are both public now. And then this one has a private field of type PA, which implements this is public within the object PA, but then that PA is now a private field of A. So now you test this object separately from this object. So when you test A, you only test the public method, and to test the private method PA2, you test the public method PA2 within object PA. So that's one technique that I've done. Did you miss the 40 minutes? I don't know. I started a little bit earlier, Crumpet. Also, it's an unusual time. But hello. What we currently do is change the access to private. I mean, I think that's a shortcut way to do it. It's still fine. I've done that a few times too, where I'll mark that it's like in some languages you can say it's a package private. And what package private tends to mean in some languages is it's private when you access it outside of the package, but within the package it's not private, and so then you bundle the test for this method in the same package as object A, and then it works. Sometimes in C++ I'll get really lazy and I'll make it public, but then mark in a comment saying test only. For tests only. I've done that a few times, and that's lazy. Really what I should be doing is keeping it private and moving the privateness to me not on the method but on the sub object, and then test the sub object separately. So then it still accomplishes the same objective of keeping that functionality private from any users of A. But when you want to test it, you just make another one of these yourself. And that also, I think it helps for me counter the natural tendency for objects to get too big. And so both of these objects will tend to be smaller because you split part of it out. And also forces you to keep the separation clean, because now if PA needed something else from A, then it has to go into PA also, or maybe there's a third thing that the two share. And I think that would lead to a cleaner design anyway. Almost never works in a team. Yeah, that's why I get away with it now because I'm not in a team. If you have a private method like store to disk some object, you make that a file handler for. Yeah, exactly. I think it's better because like this object will be easier to test on its own than the rest of the object it came from. Yeah, that's my opinion. Your mileage may vary, as we Americans say. So I commit. That's why every commit you change the private method name. There you go. Just you mess with them. Oh, they're dependent on that name? Well, change the name. The test broke. Well, you shouldn't have been calling that method. Our software, actually, that happens in the real world, right? Don't the makers of applications sometimes complain to Microsoft when they change their undocumented methods, and then Microsoft has, for the big customers, had to backpedal and like support the previously undocumented methods of Windows because app vendors have managed to figure them out and become dependent on them? I've heard about that happening. Yeah, you didn't know that? I can't remember the specific case, but it was something about in the Win32 API there was something undocumented, and I don't know who it was, like what app it was, but they became dependent on this undocumented Win32 API, and when Microsoft tried to remove it or change it, it broke this app that like millions of enterprise users used, and they complained to Microsoft, and Microsoft had to say, okay, we'll put it back just for you guys. I'm hearing a weird noise from the other room. All right. I think this is what I want. This will make it into the kind of structure that should be in the cache and still allow me to do comparisons and be able to put it in like this. Actually, let me think about this. I'm going to want this in 2 places, aren't I? So let me pull this out. Local search equals that. And then I can be really brief here and say, we expect the search for aggro search. And then this is what we're going to return for the API method of the game that does the actual search, which is find reachable places. Game.find reachable places is a function. And we have to look at what the arguments are. Zone, starting position, cost function, max cost. Zone, start, cost, max cost. So one of the things it'll do is return that, right? So return search. And the here's where I want to check to make sure the zone and all that matches. So expect equal context position Z for zone. And for start, it should be that. So context position X, context position Y. And then cost, I think I want a separate set of unit tests to check the cost function. Max cost should be whatever we have in the context for the aggro range. So I don't actually have that here. Let's add that. Aggro range. Let me make sure I'm consistent with my variable names. Aggro range is, I don't know, how about 5? So expect context NPC aggro range for max cost. So let me make placeholders for the cost function. I want to do a similar thing to what I did in the pathfinding stuff, right? Pursuit. Right, this kind of stuff. Cost can move, cost blocked by obstacle. So we don't get blocked by NPCs and players. Alright, so let me grab all of these, because I want them for the names. And I want to put them down here. I'm going to delete the contents of it. Cost can move, so we're going to delete the contents for now. Let me just keep expect false true, just to make the test fail when I run it. So this should be not blocked by NPC. And not blocked by player. And this is irrelevant. Actually, it should just be ignore, not blocked. Ignore NPC, ignore player. And there is no heuristic. Okay. So the cost functions we expect for aggro for the search are different from the pathfinding. So we want to ignore other NPCs and players because we're just getting like a breadth first map of how far away we should be scanning for NPCs. So we shouldn't try to path or search around them in any way. Unlike the pathfinding, which needs to actually find a real path, so that's why we're blocked by players and other NPCs because we wouldn't be able to step there anyway. Okay, so I'll test those later. Right now I'm interested in making sure that aggro check finds enemies in these positions and caches the search. So to find these enemies, I need to actually create those enemies and have them be in this set of places. So yeah, let's do that. So this is game.components. How do we know that they are enemies? I think, how are we going to do that? Whether something is an enemy or not. That should be an argument, shouldn't it? Or should it? There are two types of NPCs right now. Monsters and friendly NPCs. The difference is really who they consider their enemies to be, right? I've seen games where they use this concept of faction ID. Maybe that's what I should just use, because then that would be simpler. So if you're in the same faction, then you're not considered an enemy. Different faction, you're an enemy. Yeah, why not? Why not do that? So we can do the same thing with players. Players could have... Actually, now that I think of it, what if we make it a bit mask? That way, a player could be a member of one or more factions, and so could NPCs. And so if there's any intersection between faction identities, then it would be friendly, right? I should really just take this decision and make it the responsibility of some other function, shouldn't I? Hey, you test private methods, you don't. If you have a lot of imported private methods, you move that into a new class to make those methods public and use that class in the original class. That's what I just said, right? If someone else said that too, then I'll feel nice that it follows what someone else is saying. Gnarly Clark, it might have been an antivirus app that I was thinking of, actually. You weren't listening? That's basically what I was saying, yeah. Just came back? Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's how you test private methods. You make them the public methods of a different class that's contained within. It's component-oriented design. I still have that, right? If you think about components and making component compositions, or object compositions, objects within other objects, then this field or private sub-object, its composition, right? There's a PA inside of an A, or a PA is part of an A, and then it allows you to split your attention. So you could be testing this separately from you're testing that. So I agree. There's thumping on the stairs. That means there's some kind of dispute going on, and someone's not happy. Game components NPC. I need to give identities to these things, so local. If I'm deferring the logic, that means I'm going to have another function. So I'll mock that function separately. So let's say yeah, hostile entity 1. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just give them numbers here. 2 and friendly and entity 1. Actually, why not keep that different? Just don't have friends. Having friends makes everything murky. Okay, so whether it has an NPC component is irrelevant, right? Yeah, shouldn't we just have every entity funneled through the dependency? All we need to do is actually have it be in the game somewhere. Hostile? Well, thank you very much for catching that. I don't know why my eyes didn't see that. Hostile should be hostile. Thank you. Alright, we'll put this one at 5, -7 to the 4, 5. Let's add another hostile. 4. 2, 3, 4. This one's friendly. So we'll put this one in... Let's put it 6 at -8. It should not pull aggro. I know what I'll do. I'll put 17. Oh, you know what? I can't use these numbers anymore. All right. Let's define these at the top. And then we'll say hostile enemy 1 and hostile enemy 4, and we'll put 4 outside the map. It'll be at 5, -7, and a different zone now. Let's say it was teleported out to a different zone. I should also have another enemy that no longer exists. Moved out of the current zone. Moved out of the zone. Killed. Just killed. To explain what happened to them. So 5, if it's killed, it won't have a position entry. Moved out of the zone means the zone identifier changed. So both of those would not be considered anymore. So let me put all of them in this initial aggro list. We'll make sure they get removed. There we go. What'd the buffalo say to his son when he left for college? Bye, son. That's a dad joke if I've ever heard one. I gotta remember that, Endorn. Hey there, Dries Jans. You've been successfully unlurked by Endorn's dad joke. Okay. I think that's all I'm gonna do, other than we're going to mock the NPC aggro is enemy. That means I'm adding another subroutine. Is enemy. Determine if an NPC should view another entity as an enemy. If I have a bug, then we'll have NPCs attacking trees. Beast Cam online? Nah, I don't know where he is. He's not there. Not around. Nope. Stalking the jungle somewhere, I guess. So this will be a function. We need the context because we need the reference NPC. But then it'll be just entity, right? Alright, and then we'll just keep it simple. If entity is hostile entity 1, I can't type today. Return true. Else if it's to return true. Friendly. Actually, I just keep it simple. Else return false. End. Alright. 1, 2, and 4. Can Crusher? Who's the Can Crusher? Oh, why did the Can Crusher quit his job? It's so depressing. Okay. You get another point. Actually, let's give you 2 points. 1 point each for the 2 dad jokes. All right. I think I'm done. But I bet you I got syntax errors. I don't. Wow. Test just fails. Oh, how did I break? I broke the pursuit cost ignore player test somehow. Oh, did I not rename these? I didn't rename it. That's the problem. It shouldn't be. Yeah, I didn't rename this one. That means I need to rescan again. This so depressing is a dad joke answer. Because the workload was crushing is maybe not as dad jokey. It's not cringeworthy. It's actually more clever. All right. Index nil value at 183. Yes. Okay. All right. Aggro check. So, what do we expect it to do? It should... Because we're not concerned with caching yet, it should just do the search, shouldn't it? So, local search is game find reachable places, context.position.z, context position x, context position y, and then we're going to have a cost function, wrapped cost, just like we did before. And the max cost is context NPC aggro range. And then just the same that I did for pursuit, which is here, I need to wrap the cost function, like to include the context. And then the cost function's local, right? Yeah. So we'll have a local cost function, which will figure out what we're going to do later. But right now, we're just going to return 1. Okay. Given the search, the pun is on crushing. The comedy level is too high for you. It's too high for me too. I thought I smelled something burning. Say, how do we know you're not looking at a book? A book of jokes. How do we know? Okay, so once we found all those places, then we need to search them all. And for every entity we find, we need to ask, is it an enemy? And if so, then we need to pull aggro. And we're going to drop aggro from anything that we don't find. So that means we should have a copy of what's in the current aggro list. So local old aggro, context NPC aggro. I don't want a deep copy of that. All right, so I made this thing iterable, right? I hope I did. Currently number 1. Oh, you're looking at /r/dad jokes. Have you ever tried eating a clock? It's really time consuming. Especially if you go for seconds. That's higher bar than a dad joke, isn't it? Or what would you call it? Not higher bar, but higher quality? LOL. How do you pronounce the O with the double dots on top anyway? Like LOL? Lol? Lal? Vegas Lounge-esque. Is that the level above dad joke? Find reachable places. It returns a reachable place. Oh, I need to do one more level of lookup, don't I? I need to call places in cost order. So local search places is search arrow or dot. It does take a self, so that'd be that. Right, and we just get an ordinary list, so it's for index comma place in I pairs search places do. And then every place that we get is a reachable place, and that thing had these positions in it, right? So position. Hold on. We're gonna use. We're gonna use this with the other API method. This is. I need to like start writing myself an API guide for this, because I'm gonna use it with entities at position. I forget, what does that accept? Oh, separate arguments. Okay, so then right, we're gonna be doing game with entities at position. Function comes first. That function is given the entity and the depth. Entity depth. All right. And then it's x, y, and z. So then the x would be place.position x, then place.position y, and then context position z is the zone. All right. So with every entity at the position, we want to ask, is it an enemy? So if NPC aggro is enemy, right? That's what our test is expecting now. NPC aggro is enemy. Context, comma, entity. Then else, end. The reason why I have the else here is I want to be actually I want to search in this. So really, instead of doing the old aggro, I don't want to make a deep copy. I want to make a lookup table. I thought I had a utility for this. Maybe not though. Count components. No. Maybe not. Okay, I guess I can just do it in place. So let's do aggro set for underscore comma entity in I pairs context NPC aggro. Do aggro set index entity is true. All right, then I don't need that. So basically turning the list into a hash table of flags. So then we can say else if aggro set index entity, then that means we have aggro on something that isn't an enemy anymore. So then we would remove it, right? Actually, do I need to do that? Yeah, because we need to know that it changed. So, because we either set up a delta for the aggro table or we don't. So let me I guess it would just be a flag. Local aggro changed false. So if it was in the set and it isn't anymore, we've changed it. I should also be building the new aggro table. New aggro. And then if we get to the end, if we have if aggro changed, then so it's set if it's an enemy and it wasn't in the set before. If not aggro set entity, then aggro change is true. But then either way, we need to add it to the list. So new aggro, size of new aggro +1 is entity. Okay, so if they're an entity, then if we didn't have aggro on them before, we're changing the aggro set. Put it in the aggro set, or aggro list. If they are not an enemy, but they were in their aggro set before, in the aggro list before, then we're changing it, and it's being removed. If we get to the end, then I have to do this thing where we say if, how did it work? this thing, if there's no delta for the NPC, make one, and then once it's there, we can say in context delta npc.aggro is new aggro. There we go. Okay, I think that will work. Let's try it out. Go to the test and run it. No. Places in cost. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes. So we can't just return the search. We have to return something that has a method called places in cost order. So I have to do something like this. Places in cost order equals function self and return search. Yeah, that'll work. Run. Actual was 1? What? Oh, the expected 16 is wrong. Right, so we should get hostile entities 1 and 2, right? Those are the only ones that are actually in the search area. Oh, and I never put that at a different coordinate. Let's put it in a different place. 5, -8, I guess. This one's friendly. This one's in a different zone. So it should just be 1 and 2. There we end up in this list down here. Like that. And reload. You also have r/uncle jokes, but they're more inappropriate. Does everyone have an uncle who tells inappropriate jokes? Or is it just me? I do have an uncle who says inappropriate jokes. Wait a minute. Expected null table actual is null nil? Oh, it didn't store it there. We need to do that. This depends on it being stored, so context.aggro search is search. And that should go up here when we actually compute it, right? Right here. And we should also be doing this, I think. Actually, I can keep it simple then. I can combine these two. So the search could be this returns that and like that, and then this just returns search. Cool, that'll work. Run. Hey, it passed. Nice. Okay. So now I have to worry about how things are cached. I think I want to change this a little bit because the way I was caching before was kind of more efficient if you widen the search and consider it a cache hit if the place that the NPC is in. Hold on, how do I show this? Probably should by showing the real game here, showing George's aggro search. So when he's standing here on the 1, his real aggro range is 10, right? So when he's on the 1 and the slime's on 15, 15 minus 1 is 14, which is greater than 10, so he knows that there's no possible way that the slime could be within 10 squares. But if George moves to like 5 and the slime is on 15, it's possible he's within aggro range, but not for certain because he could be on the 5 that's down here instead of the 5 that's up here, right? So what happens is that happens right there, where if the difference between the cost of where the monster is and where the NPC is less than or equal to the range, then it's an aggro pull if you're at the search origin, but if you're not, you have to do one more search to check. I think I wanted to include that, so that would be another test, I think, because yeah, this would be, well, this is not cached, but then when it's cached, it might have to search, or it might be a hit or a miss. Actually, that's what I'm talking about. But the difference, yeah, we have to scan more than the aggro range away. So that means we're going to expect. Do I make it a constant? I'm feeling like I should make it a constant. For the max cost, expect aggro range plus. Let's call it aggro range extension. And we're going to make that, I don't know. That should be a constant shared between the tests and the code, because I don't really care what it is. Okay, so I'm feeling like I should be like at the top where I should require the constants. Where do we put the constants? Constants product. Which one do I include though? Oh, wait, no. We want to mock it, but at the global level, right? So, yeah. Mock global constants. Right, so we can set it to 5 or something like that, right? So the cost we get back, or the range that it uses is, or the max cost that we use is the range plus that range extension. And you guys can't see that unless I do that. The max cost is the range plus the extension. Okay. That's going to fail at first. Until I actually add that here. Oh, let's put it here. Let's give it a comment. This is how much further the aggro search is extended in order to reduce the number of aggro search cache misses. So that's aggro search. I already forgot what I named it. Aggro range extension. 5. 5 is a good number based off of what I was seeing in this random walk. Stuff like this where he could step onto the one and only hear where the difference was less than or equal to his actual range, so you have to go scan again. And he actually found them within range. That's why he's attacking them now. Yeah, so that's why it did some extra scans there. So right now 13 minus 1 is not less than or equal to 10. So it's not scanning, but if you were to step on that 2, which it just did, so it rescanned. Yeah. All right. I have to actually make the change here, don't I? So that means I should actually test something being slightly out of range. So let me put, let me actually make that a 1 or 2. Let me think about this. I don't have the costs in here correct, do I? Anyway. These costs were 1 and they should not be 1. Actually, I guess I could. Yeah, they should be realistic, right? So that should 0, 1, 2, 3. So let me set the range aggro range to 2. So then this one's out of range. So 6, -8. Did I put any enemy there? I put friendly entity there. Let's put a hostile enemy also on that same spot because we can. This is hostile entity 5. But I don't expect that one to pull aggro because it's out of aggro range. So, yeah, it's going to fail again, right? So, just extending the max cost won't be enough. Where is the cost here? Oh, never passed it. Oops. Or did I? Oh, it was here. So this is plus the extension. Here. Right, but that won't make it pass. Hey there, Yuri. How are you doing today? I've misplaced where I was. Oh, here we are. That shouldn't have passed. Because that should be found. Hostile entity 5 should have been found. Hold on. What did I mess up here? That's a reachable place. Why didn't it pull aggro? Oh, because I don't have it in here. 5 then, yeah. So that'll make it fail. Right. Because it has an extra key. Okay, so then to fix it properly, it would be we should look at the cost of this place and ignore it. Yeah. Actually, let me hold on a second. If something is missing, it won't even go into here. Okay, I wrote this code wrong. It's not enough that we have this flag actually. There might be things that are in the old aggro set that we don't find again, and then we want to actually actively remove it. I'm doing okay. I'm sad that you're doing iffy. I hope you get better soon. I know you're telling me that that's unlikely, but it's just a good wishes sentiment. And just the thought that things can always get better, even if you think they can't. How's the cold? I still have a bit of a cough. I'm still taking these cough drops during stream so I don't cough so much. Just random congestion. It's nowhere near as bad as it was last week where I couldn't sleep. That sucked. I had to take Sudafed and Advil in order to sleep. That was the worst. Well, thank you, Crumpet. Yeah, when I get a cold, it's usually like really bad for a few days, and then there's a long tail to it where it just kind of lingers. Some things linger. But yeah, at least I can sleep. It's really bad when you can't sleep. I think what I'm going to do here is when we find it in the lists, so that would be actually anywhere here, right? If it's an enemy, then we should remove it. So I guess I'm turning this into a positive logic. If it's in the set, then set it to false. If it's not an enemy and it's in the set, then set it to false. And then when we get down to the end, we can say if... Oh, shoot. I have to count the number of things, too. Dang it. Okay, so actually, it would be better than setting these things to false. I just need to know how many are we missing. So instead of setting them to false, let me have a counter up here. Local old aggro count is the size of context NPC aggro. Actually, so whenever we find it in the set, I said I should subtract. So I am going to have this then. because it's this equals that minus 1 in 2 places. Right, so then if that old count is greater than 0, then that means there were some things that were in the aggro list that no longer are, so we're going to have to say change is true. Hey, guess who's joining me? Hello. Hello, kitty. Hi. He looked at me. He licked his lips. One of these nights he's gonna like rip my eyes out in my sleep. Right now he's just gonna twist around and around. Are you gonna sleep or are you just gonna sit there staring? He's just sitting there staring. All right. I need to get something else to... Oh, I have a glass of water here. He'd lick your hair in your sleep. Oh. He's like, you taste good, human. One of these days I will eat you. I think this will be a good enough test. Okay, so then the thing I need to change is... here we need to skip it if the place dot cost is greater than max cost. Then you can't say continue, so it's easier to say if less than or equal to, then do this code. And now that passes. Still doesn't pass. Attempt to compare a number with nil. How did that become nil? Oh. Right, it's not max cost, it is this number. Aggro range. Cool. Fixed. Okay, nice. Whew. What's that exclamation point that allows you to put a link in? You mean... what kind of link do you mean? Do you mean just a link in chat, or do you mean link your player account with your Twitch account? I'm not sure what you mean. You don't have to do anything special to put any kind of link in chat. Go ahead. It's not like other channels where you get timed out or something. Go ahead and post the link. What are you going to link us to? Yeah, my channel doesn't have a check for that. Okay, what are we looking at? Oh, is this a laptop? Huh. Oh, looks interesting. It's a very flashy site. I think it's a little bit too flashy for me. It's very, very, very flashy marketing site for a laptop. It makes me suspect what they say. I get a little skeptical, thinking if the site has to be that flashy, then there may be hiding something. Do you want an opinion on the laptop or on the marketing site? Let's see what we can learn from the laptop itself. So far, we're not learning anything about it. Where it's a whole bunch of marketing BS. Battery that lasts all day. Okay, that's cool. It's got a nice display. What is this? Oh, is that the density? Or is that the brightness? I don't even know what that means. This site is too annoying. It's not giving me enough information. So I'm gonna stop looking at it. I'm sorry. I'll say, so you wanted my opinion, Yuri. So my opinion is that I hate that site because what I would want to know about if I was comparing one laptop to another is, oh, Mamba says just click the full specs at the top right. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Full specs. Where did you see that? I don't even see the link for full specs. Oh, there it is. There we go. Full specs. It's nice that it has SSDs. The resolution's nice. 48 watt hours. Okay. Seems kind of low for a lap. I guess it's a like a Surface, right? Okay. It seems pretty cool. I don't know enough about like I wouldn't be able to tell you what a good contrast ratio is. So this just sounds impressive, but I have no idea if it's good or not. Noise canceling microphone? Yeah, I don't know. Seems good. I don't know. Thought I said that kind of cam? No, it's a beast cam, because my cat is a beast sometimes. He does not care about us humans. Yeah, I read that, Yuri, but I mean, okay. I think my MacBook's got the same resolution, if not more. I don't know about the contrast ratio, and I have no idea what 100% sRGB means. The tiger that lurks in the jungle, yeah. A lot of that just seems like marketing BS, though. Ah, I see. All right, so that had absolutely nothing to do with what I'm doing, though. So I'm going to go back to work. Let's see. Right. Okay. So this is done, and I'm gonna focus more on the caching aspect of it now. Just looking for a laptop. I didn't like that site. I'm skeptical of that laptop. It feels more like they're trying to wow you. Better than your MacBook Pro? Okay. Then why are you looking for one if it's better? Sounds like you already know that it's what you want. So, all right. Yeah, I would agree that if it's just for browsing, it's overkill. But I'm assuming it's more than web browsing. Okay, so to do a cache hit, I guess what I need to do is pre-populate. That means I have to run the thing once. So what would I do then? I would run it once and then change it, right? So the cache hit would be how much do I have to repeat to this? I guess it doesn't really I don't need to repeat so much of it. Let's simplify it down to hostile entity, just one of them. Just one enemy. And it doesn't really matter what I put there. So I'm just going to delete it. And we're keeping that. The searchable positions are the same. Oh, we should make sure it only gets called once. We wanted to use the cacher, so let's do a local search count. And we'll say search count plus 1. And then simplify. Actually, do we even care about any of this stuff? We'll just return true. Everything's an enemy. So I'm just curious, why do you want a 4K or more screen on your laptop? Is it the is the density really something that you can tell? Because I've talked to people in the past who like want 4K and I get different answers. So for me, I wouldn't want a 4K unless it's like a big screen because I really wouldn't be able to see any difference. So kind of like the difference between 100 hertz and 140 hertz. My eyes can't see that anymore. So 140 hertz is not important to me. Anything above 60 hertz, can't tell the difference. So it's a waste for me. 60 versus 120, for example. 60 just looks exactly the same to me as 120 hertz. So why would I pay more for something that I can't tell the difference? All right. Just one entity. So Riley Monkey, sometimes I can understand the point of view. You might want to have either a huge monitor or multiple monitors, because if you hate overlapping windows. All right. I need to focus on my work. Sorry. We're at 4, -7. Okay, so I'm going to actually move after the first search. That's what I'm going to do. I don't need to do this, actually. We did it in the other test. So we're going to do aggro check first, and then we're going to move the position of the NPC and do it again. But it should be a hit because we didn't move it too far away. So I don't know, like 3 -7 aggro check, and it should not, there should be no delta, so we should have a nil for context, and there should be no change. And the search count should be 1. Expect equal 1 for search count. And I don't care about that. All right, so let's do this test. Repeat. And run. Cool. Fail the correct way. By the way, hello, just another anti player. I like your name. And then there was someone else I didn't say hi to. Rottenex. Interesting name. Hi. Well, why wouldn't someone like just another anti player? All right. So it's this part that we're going to cache, basically. So that means down to here. So that means I need to establish a cache. That leads me to consider, like, when do we actually delete something from the cache that's old? I'll leave that as a problem to solve later. So to do. Remove search cache entries for NPCs which are destroyed. Don't have a way to detect that yet. But anyway, I think what we want to do is cache a couple things. So, and this should be here, right? Local aggro search cache. Actually, that's all I need to do. And when I get down, when I get to here, we should see if there's an entry for the NPC in here. If there's an entry and it looks like we can still use it, right? I think I'm going to have to pull some of this out as a separate subfunction because we're going to end up calling... we might have to end up calling it twice during one aggro check because we'll see that there's a cache hit, but then we'll see that one of the enemies is moved, and then now it becomes where we need to refresh the search anyway. Yeah, I need a test case for that too. So there are a couple cases where the cache will miss. Check cache miss NPC moved. Actually, no, it doesn't matter if the NPC moved. Actually, there would be. If aggro check cache miss new zone. Do I even care about that? I sort of do. If the zone that the NPC is in changes, it's a cache miss all the time. The other one would be cache miss... yeah, NPC moves too far. And then the third type of miss would be NPC... enemy possibly in range. Where if the NPC moves a little bit and the enemy also moves a little bit, and so the difference in the positions of the difference in the cost variables of the two positions is less than or equal to the aggro range, they might be in range. We don't know. Yeah, there we go. So all of these things could trigger that. So we'll know the zone one right away, and actually we'll know this other one too, right? But first of all, we need to see if there is an entry. So if, I guess we can assign it locally. Cache entry is aggro search cache, look it up by context NPC entity. If cache entry, then all right. I guess what I can do here is I can say if not cache entry. And then here's what where we would grab it. In fact, include all of that. Because in addition to that, we would put it into the cache. Cache, this one. All of that equals, what I want to put in the cache is the search, but also, do I need to put something else in there? The original zone, right? I guess I can say zone. Context and position Z, and then the search is the search. All right. If cache entry.zone is not equal to context position.z, that's one condition. And the other one was what? If they move too far. Right. The other one's hard to put in as the same if, but if that's true, then they'll just say cache entry is nil. Else. Whoa, that's a long link. Maybe we should take the discussion back over to the Discord. Would that be okay with you guys? All right, if the NPC switches to a different zone, we're invalidating the cache by setting it to nil. This is the cache is not present or invalidated. We do a lot of that stuff, right? So the yeah, that's what I was saying, Crumpet. I think it'd be better to talk about it in Discord. That's just a Lua thing, TS Just. So that's tilde equal is not equal in Lua. So it might not be the correct mathematical symbol, but it happens to be the ligature that this font uses for that. Because that's the not equal to would be correct in C and C++, but it's not correct in Lua. In fact, it looks like the font it knows about it because it says it's in Lua. So if I tell it it's C, then it starts to use that ligature. It's kind of smart that way, isn't it? Lua. Yeah. It actually doesn't use the not equal to ligature as a sign that it's not the correct operator. Interesting. Here's where it gets complicated though, right? Because moving too far means I have to actually look to see if the NPC's position is in the cache. So that would be one thing. I have to do search index of, right? So local. The other thing is the search. I need to make sure that this includes. I need to fix that so that it includes the origin position in there. I don't think it does right now. Why don't they standardize things? There's a great XKCD comic about standardization. The joke is that people do standardize them, but then other groups of people don't like the standards, so they make their own standards, and then later you have like 14 different standards, and so a bunch of people come up and say, there's too many standards for this, we should make one unifying standard, and then the next day there are 15 standards. So I have no idea why they chose a different operator syntax for Lua. Maybe they just wanted to be different. Is that the one? Yeah, that's it. This one. Situation, there are 14 competing standards. 14? Ridiculous. We need to develop one universal standard that covers everyone's use cases. Yeah! Soon. Situation, there are 15 competing standards. Nice, thank you. Just another anti player. One universal phone charging cable now. That just means you'll have another phone charger. Another cable. Just adding it on to the... Oh, that was your first point? Well, let me give you another point for your first point. See how this progresses? XKCD's got a lot of dad jokes in it, doesn't it? Okay. What am I thinking here? Oh, okay. This will be looking up the position index is the actually I guess we can get local search out of this, right? Local search is cache entry.search. Then position index is search colon this is where I should make a manual for this, a reference guide. It's reachable places, the meta table for that, index of, that's what it is. Index of, and then what do I pass to index of? Just the position X and Y. Okay, so that would be context position X, context position Y. Okay, and then it's possible it might not be in the list, so it would be 0. So if position index, then... Actually, it's the other way around. It would be if not position index, or... Then I gotta look it up, right? So... Search, I guess we can grab this too. or not search places index position index dot cost is greater than or equal to the extension, then invalidate cache. Right here. And I really should comment this stuff. So, check the cache of previous searches. If MVC switched zones, invalidate cache entry. Find NPC's current position in this search. Invalidate cache entry if position not found, or if the cost at the found position is at or greater than the range extension added. Well, then the range extension. If you do the not operator, it's converted to a Boolean. So if you do not of a number, you'll be stuck on 1 point. Oh, yeah, but good thing my channel is not a programming language, huh? Okay, so if we don't have a validated cache entry, perform a new search. All right, and then I should grab this search thing, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's define up here search, and then down here I'll just assign it to that. Let me do the same thing with search places. There. And then so here that's no longer a local. And this could be done right afterwards, right there. No local. All right. Okay. Now that we have a valid search area, iterate through the places and the entities therein, looking for enemies. Keep track of the number of old enemies not removed from the aggro list, or not accounted for. And build a new aggro list. There we go. If there are old enemies not accounted for, they are being removed from the aggro list, so we must submit a change. Even if no other entities caused the list to change. I do need to stretch, don't I? Oh, there's a pet the cat request from Red Rampage Crumpet. Yeah. All right. We'll stretch and we'll pet the cat. Sounds good. Oh yeah, he gets a double-handed pets, of course. And now he's going back to sleep again. Thank you, Red Rampage Crumpet. Okay. post new aggro list if it changed. There we go. Well, just remember, the cat doesn't care, right? Congratulations. The cat does not care about you. There's leaving a little ribbon there. He does not care. See? The cat does not care about us. Or why he gets pet. I guess he considers it that he's received his due. Okay. This is overly complicated. I kind of feel like I should split it up. I also am not done because in the event that actually this isn't even correct, is it? This is not even correct. This actually might have to loop back around. Or I just extract these as functions. Oh, thank you for the follow. The search part ought to be another function, because I think we have to call it again and break out of this loop, really. If we run into an entity that is considered an enemy, and if the cost of the place they're in, if the difference between that and the cost, because we need to get the other variable then, don't we? Yeah. Okay, so I need to know this cost. So another way to write this would be local origin cost or something. Set it to 0 and then say if position index, then origin cost, that should be then, equals this. And then end. And then say if origin cost is greater than or equal to that. Then origin cost, move that out to here completely. There we go. So if there's a cache entry, then we're computing an origin cost. Although if we don't have one, then we're always resetting it, right? Yeah, this would be origin cost is 0 by definition. So the origin cost meaning the cost, for example, looking at my game, if that's the search origin, then the number that George is on, like right now it's a 1, that's the origin cost. In other words, it's how far he's gone away from the origin of the original search. And I was saying before, if the difference between where an enemy is and the cost of where George is less than or equal to his aggro range, then we need to repeat a search to make sure that the enemy's in range. And that's the part I haven't written yet. Obviously, if he's moved completely out of the extension range, actually this would be a greater than, not greater than or equal to, then there might be enemies that are in range that we have no way of knowing if they're there or not. So we always should invalidate it. So it's down here, right? I need to iterate all positions anyway. Actually, I can skip it if the cost plus. Like if George is sitting on a 2, or a 1, let's say a 1, and if aggro range is 10, then any 12s and up I can drop. So it's cost minus origin cost. Right. And then if we get into the situation where they're an enemy, then if origin cost is 0, then do this. Else, this is the case where we need to redo the search. So that would be I'd have to actually break out and repeat the search all over again, wouldn't I? So if I wanted to break here and then repeat all of this, that would imply that this entire thing is in a loop, right? But what would the loop condition be? I guess loop condition would be I can just keep it simple. It's a forever loop. While true, do. And then we have a breakout if we get down to here. Break. And then I just need a way to have it continue. There's this trick, right? A label, a continue label. See, is that how you did it? How I did it before? I don't remember now. Lua continue. Yes. Yeah. Continue, go to continue. Right. So here it would be invalidate the, it would be do the search. Okay, and it means I need to put this whole thing into a function. A function that returns three things. Search. Actually, I guess we can get places out of the search. So I really just need the origin cost and the search. No, the origin cost is always 0. So I just need the search then. Yes. All right. Well, let's put it into a function. Local NPC aggro search. Do that. Return the search. I do not need to do that. Places is not needed either. This is local. Aggro search is updated to stored. Actually, I don't need to do that either. I should, though. Okay, so then that is that. And then we keep these and delete everything else. And then this would have to be repeated again down here. And then go to continue. There we go. Hey there, Caroline. How are you doing? I still have a lingering cough from my cold. 2 hours? I gotta think of ways to cut the complexity of this down. Alright. We can say an enemy found when the search is centered on the NPC is definitely within aggro range. In this case, the search was offset, cached. So we don't know for sure if the enemy is within range. Search and repeat the scan. So repeat the search and then going to continue, loops back up, and we start over again. Only this time it's going to be centered and the origin cost is going to be 0 again, so we won't continue a second time. This is one kind of cache miss where we see an enemy but the search is offset. So we need to search again to confirm. The other kinds of invalidations of the cache are if the NPC goes really far away from where the search was, or if it switch zones. Either way, it's invalidated before we enter the loop at all. And we'll do that here. I wonder, can I combine these two together somehow? I think I can, actually. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to put that here. So, this would go into here, then. So. Let's move that to here. Let me just redo this. This is fundamentally iterate through the places and the entities there and looking for enemies. Keep track of... Okay, so... This may need to be restarted if... Let's say iterate through the places in the aggro search area. This may need to be restarted if the aggro search area was cached and a cache miss is detected. There may actually, I don't think I need to say it, but yeah, the way I'll do this is I'll just set this to nil and go to continue. So continue goes here, loops back up, and goes immediately into this to perform the search over again. Check the cache for previous searches, so we might invalidate the cache, we might pull it out, either way. If we are trying a cache, it'll skip this the first time through and maybe use it. If it gets invalidated again, we loop back up and we do it. Okay, so I like this structure. I could get I could get rid of this one level of indentation here by reversing that and then doing like a way to jump to this end. But then I have two different jumps. I could also make this another function, I guess. I'm going to leave it. Save. Let me just make it sure I didn't break anything here. This one up here should not break. Okay, it doesn't even want to run. Maybe there's a syntax error. Yep, syntax error. No visible label continue for go to 155. Is that how the syntax works? Is that not how you do it? Oh, can you not jump out of a loop like that? I guess I can't jump out like that, so... I guess I would turn this into a do, while not cat, while, yeah, do, while not cache entry. And then I would just break here. I don't actually need to continue, right? Oh, wait a minute. No, this is inside of a function. Shoot. So just return here? It's going to return anyway. I could have this check if not cache entry break. That should be then break. And so I don't need these. Still it's wrong. Do expected near if on 175. Can you not do a do while in Lua? Lua do while. All right, I'll turn it around then. While true, do. End. If cache entry, then break. I hate doing it this way. This is so hard, difficult for me to. This is so badly written. I don't like it. I don't like it. And it's not even working correctly. Hold on, what? Table index is nil. This is nil? Oh, right. We don't have an NPC entity. Need to add that. NPC entities, 42. Good night, Nui. Thanks for staying up so late. Run it all again. Infinite loop. Need to be more, I knew I didn't like it. There's an infinite loop there. Yeah, it is late. See ya. Oh, this doesn't update cache entry, does it? Shoot. This should be updated here. Okay, so then, Could I just do search instead? Yeah, let's turn it around. If not search, that reads a little bit better. If we don't have a search area, then search is nil. If not search, then break. If search, break. All right. Still is bad. Now it's attempt to compare number with nil. Here. Somehow, oh, was that local out here? Yeah. Technically, I need to reload that. I need to reload both. But I could, I could define them out here. Not assign them, and then remove the local here, and that would fix it. So it got nil for aggro. It didn't pull any aggro. It should have, though. Why would it not? I don't know. I already hate this code. I feel like I need to split it up into little smaller pieces. It's basically this cryptic error message says what was expected. So ignore this. Is basically it can't stringify. I don't have any way to stringify right now the table. It expected a table, and the actual was a nil. So this was nil, even when we expect it to be a table. Instead, that's nil. So the only way that would be nil is if it did not, if aggro change was not truthy. It should have been because it should have been set there once it found an enemy within range. Let me do some printing. Aggro on entity. Oh, not printf, print. Aggro on 2. Okay, so aggro change should have been set to true. Okay, so then it should have set that. Hold on. Is new new aggro is nil. Dang it. Another local. Right here. And then clear it there. Do I need to do anything with that one? No. That truly is local. Okay. Maybe that was it. Save. Try again. Okay, cool. Passing now. Cache hit. Oh right, I didn't mock index of. So I need to mock that now. So index of is a function that takes self and x and a y, right? And it has to look into these numbers here. So if x is 4, then if y is -7, then return 1. End. Else if x is 5, then if y is -7, then return 2. Else if y is -8, then return 3. Else if x is 6, then if y is -8, then return 4. Return 0 at the end. Okay, could I make that simpler? I guess if I had put these sets of coordinates in a separate list and then had it look through the list, it would be simpler. I wonder if I should do that. So, for example, I could build a table separately before calling this thing, and then I could have a loop. You know, I'll keep it like this for now. Obviously missing some syntax. Oh, there we go. 108. Attempt to index a nil value. So pos index is nil. Why? Oh no, it's saying search places is nil. That shouldn't be nil. Let's just print it out. Cached index pos index. Run. 0. Okay, that's wrong. Oh, 0 is truthy? So it should be if it's greater than 0. Okay, got further. Wait a minute, what? Expected nil actual was a table? 278. Line numbers are all wacky. Oh. No, it shouldn't have caused a change. Oh, it did. It did because I didn't initialize the aggro table. I need to do that. Yeah. We should have the aggro list have something in it. Hostile entity, right? Like that. And we want it to use the cache hit, so it should not make a change. There we go. Okay, good. Getting somewhere. So then the cache misses. There are a couple different ways to miss the cache. So new zone. So I'm going to take this whole test here. Let's fix the line numbers on it. I did save first. I forgot to hit save. Okay, so the zone would be this change. That changes down here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But otherwise, we'll leave the position at 4, -7. And miss would cause the search, so it should be two searches. That's all I really care about, that it misses it. There. I don't care about anything else here. It should. This we need to find the cache entry. Actually, it won't even get this far, will it? So I can skip this stuff. I don't need the index stuff. I don't even need, this could just be an empty table for all I care. Or no, it's going to use that. Okay, so this should pass, yeah, all right. And then the other miss will be moves too far, so that's this again, but moving it too far would be, it was at 4, -7. So we move it at like, oh, it has to be, there are two ways it could be too far. It could be in the search, but too high a cost, or it could be not in the search at all. So I should maybe keep that separate. Moves too far in search area. So that means that, what did I set? It's 5 is the extension. So I need to put something that's like cost 5 in here. So I'll just invent another one here. I guess I can just keep going. So 7, -8 from 6 is a cost 4. And then 8, -8 from 7, -8 is a 5. So we'll move to 8, -8. 8, -8 is 5 away. So that should cause a second search. And I don't care what else happens there. So I do need an index of, because and I have to update this, unfortunately. So if it's 7, -8's 5. Oh, wait a minute, did I do this wrong? 1, 2, 3. I did do it wrong. I had the index of wrong back here. That's 1. That's also 1. That's 2, and that's 3. Yeah, I did it wrong. Okay, so down here, 4, -7 is... Oh, that's... I'm off by 1 again. Shoot. That's 0. That's 1, yeah, okay. That's how I screwed it up before. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 8, 8 is 5. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this isn't supposed to be cost, it's supposed to be index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was off by 1 the whole time. All right. So that means what I had up here before was correct before, right? At 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. This is telling me that I really shouldn't write it like this. I should have it in a table and the index of actually finds it. But I'm too lazy to do it right now. So it'll find the index, and it'll look in the index and see the 5 there and say, well, it's too far, so it should do another search. Missing parentheses near here. Indeed. Now what? 370? Why is there a comma there? All right, that was it. All right, run. Cool. So that's it. It missed the cache because it moved too far, and then I want another version of this where it moves completely out of range, which is I'll also have it move to 8, -8, but actually remove these. That's the easiest way to do this. So it'll return 0, and then it'll be out of range, so it'll do another search. And why didn't this work? It did a search. Why? It should have done 2 searches. Let me look. Oh, yeah, that's a problem. This should say else origin cost equals Zagrange extension. Well, actually, this should just do this. And this should be inside of here. There we go. Still wrong. It'll be 0. So should have gone in here and set it to nil. Oh, we're not clearing the caches correctly. This should have... Ooh, then why did this not cause a second search? This should be... oh, because it starts out as nil. Okay, never mind. So I don't need that. This could just be if equal to. Now we found a search. To invalidate it, we have to set it to nil there. Right. Then why the cache hit is wrong. Okay, it didn't actually hit correctly. 3 negative... Oh, 3 -7 isn't in the list. That should be like... Let's move it to 5 -7. So that was wrong before. I know, the beast rotated. It pleases you. I know. Pleases me too, to know that he's not yet dead. Is that too morbid? And hello, Mr. Muffles, by the way. I hope you're doing well today. Vim Wizard, I would say look at the Primogen stream. He's the Vim Wizard. Lurking and farming the beast points. Nope, no problem with that. Alright, this is not hitting my cache, even though it should. We're saying that if these are in the search, and we move to 5 -7, 5 -7 is in the cache at position with a cost of 1. So position 2, cost is 1. So it should not search again, but it is. So let me see where all these places where we actually invalidate the cache. Let me print something. Print here. Moved too far. Print here. Out outside search area. And I guess I should have an else here for now. Print switched zones. And then there should be also another else here. Else no previous search. Let's see. How does that break? No previous search. Why would it say that? Oh, no, it should say that the first time. Let's have it print every time it enters here. So it did do a hit. Why is it going to 2 then? So it's searching anyway. It's searching anyway. Why? So first check, no previous search. Second check, it didn't hit any of my print statements, so why did it do a search anyway? Searching. Yeah, why did it go into there? The only way it could not print something is if it got all the way into here. And so it would have assigned that. Emacs for the win? Don't tell Primogen that. He and I both believe that Emacs is designed to cripple your wrists. But I've always thought it was something where people's experiences differ, but then he had the same experience I did, so I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. Emacs almost crippled my wrists. Changed the key bindings. But then it's not Emacs anymore, it's your Macs. Just kidding. Why? We're setting it here. Oh, am I not storing it? Maybe that's the problem. Is this not stored? Entity, the cache entry. Oh, yeah, we're not. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it calls that. Does that actually store it? Yes, it does. And it does that. So what am I missing here? That symbol is in one place. So why is it doing it a second time there? I guess I can see what search equals. So like this. Search is search. Can I do it just a 2-string? Search. Nil. And then it's a table. Oh, and then we looped again somehow. Do I set it to... Oh, here we go. Oh, shoot. Is that why? Oh, this is wrong. No, wait, hold on. It is wrong. It shouldn't have to do a research. It shouldn't have to search again. Right? Let me think about this. Yeah, what am I doing? It shouldn't it should just do a search again. So yeah, the test is wrong. Print. So we'll leave the prints in there for a second. A hit is we can't move. So I can't be changing the... Yeah, I think it's just this, right? We just call it a second time. Yeah, I think that's the answer. Yep. Okay, let me remove the prints. Print. And not the prince like the princess, the print statements. No else, no else. Alright. There we go. Whatever works best for each person, yeah. The default key bindings in Emacs, I found, after a while, really hurt my wrists because of the way I was turning my wrists to press the control, and was it the control key all the time? Okay, so now I'm just left with coding up the cost functions. So I'm going to kind of do what I did for pursuit test here. Let's just take this as a starting point. Here, scan. Oh, I didn't do this one. Enemy possibly in range. Yeah, we should have... I should have made this... Okay, let me hit back on this one. I should move the NPC, but I should move the NPC where the enemy is still outside of range. So that would be no aggro. Let's set the range something tight. Well, it's only 2. What do I have them at now? 5. Yeah, let's put them distant. So let's put them at 6 negative. Well, let's put them even further out, because we have to consider that we're moving the NPC. So if we start him at 4 and we're only moving 1 away, then it should still be out of range, right? So the cache should hit even though we moved. So we'll move to from 4 to 5, and the enemy will be at 7 negative 8. So initially out of range, and still out of range after the NPC moves. Correct? Correct. Okay, so then a miss would be where the enemy's a little bit closer, but otherwise everything is the same. Right here. So let's move the enemy closer. So like at 6 negative 8. Now, with the NPC moving, it'll be 2 searches and miss, but there's still no change to the aggro table. Possibly range, but not in range. Okay, so that worked. All right, cool. Okay, so that out of the way. Cost functions. Can move cost function. We are going to mock... Where is it? Where is it? This one. We're going to mock that for the purposes of capturing the cost function. I guess I do need to return a search, don't I? I need to return something that will prevent the aggro check from crashing. So it doesn't really matter what I just make. Let me just pick this out. I guess we can just return an empty search area. It just has to have that in it. So just return an empty list, and this just returns 0 always. That's the most bare bones search result. Search result is empty. Index_of always returns 0, so it at least has the proper methods in it. Because the only thing I really care about is grabbing a copy of the cost function so that we can play with it. So, right, grab that, and then this had to do with some pre-constructed entities, right, that had positions in them. Right, this stuff. Let's do that. None of these will be enemies, though, so they're independent, and I can just copy them from that test fixture to this one. I just have to make sure I don't reuse entity numbers. So that's 42. Hold on. Was I was using 1. Actually, I was using more than 1, right? Some of these tests had more than 1 enemy. Oh, up to 5. Okay, so we'll just maybe start at 10 or something. Yeah, so I'll just put a 1 in front of all these. Doesn't really matter as long as they're independent. So I don't need that one. Don't need that one. Set up some common test mock entities for use in testing cost function. All right. So right, the difference here is some of them look like NPCs and some of them look like players. And then wasn't one of them marked gone? Oh, I think a test was explicit about that. Okay, yeah, so E6 is an NPC, and E7 is a player. I don't need these E8 or 9, do I? I think that's where I did the gone, so just that. All right. So this is mocking the access check function to look at this A flag for access, and then testing it and a bitwise and with the mobility. So mobility is where? Oh, what happened to my camera? Getting darker. I need to up the filter. There we go. Low light mode. Engaged. I forgot to say hello to Danny. Hi. All right, mobility. Trying to remember where mobility was encoded here. Oh, from caps. Right, so we're going to have to include that. Up here, caps. Whoops. Right there. So that's the movement capability of the NPC. Bitmask just has 1 bit set. So the idea is like all of these where A is 1 mean they're passable, like you can move on those, and then this is one where it's impassable. How come? Why did I have 4 different ones? Why did I have 4 different ones? I think those are redundant. Yeah, well, oh, it was to test a heuristic. I don't care about the heuristic. Yeah, let me drop the first 2. Maybe even the third one too alone. Yeah, what? I don't need this many. Oh wait, it was because this is the reference position and these are all adjacent 1 square away. Right. So let's get rid of E1 and 2. E3 is E1. Okay. We don't need past 7. Right. So E4 is E2. E5 is E3, E6 is E4, E7 is E5. That should be a 4 and that should be a 5. All right. Okay, so 5, 7, negative 5, 7, negative 4, 7, negative 6, 7, negative 5, negative 6. So E1 is in the middle, and E2, 3, 4, and 5 are on the up, down, left, and right. Cool. Okay. Can move would be from 1 to 2, because 2 was the one that had the axis of 1. This one's irrelevant. So 3 is a block and 4 is an ignore. Okay. Right, so this is true. Blocked by obstacle. So this is the part I need to... actually, the whole thing I'm copying. Copy that line. Alright, so between 3 and 5, it's max cost plus 1 because it's a barrier. Okay, so actually better just copy this down to here, right? Ignore does what? Cost 1. Okay. Cost 1. So ignore is from 1 to... Oh, this is 1 to 3, right? 1 to 2 is cost 1. 1 to 3 is max cost plus 1. 1 to 4... And then 1 to 5 should be both 1, because it's ignored. Alright. 5, 1. Alright, cool. Repeat. I think I've lost everybody watching me, but that's okay. Pause on line 30 is nil? Oh, yeah, it's missing. Why is it missing? Yeah, should I just build that in to here? Right, like that? Why not? Because I think it's the same for all tests. The arrange is the same for all these tests. It's 4, -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zone change there, so I should be explicit about this. Just change the zone. Remove that. Oh, thank you for the follow. Sorry if this is like way over everybody's head, but this I should be explicit, right? We're not changing the zone. That arrange... Okay, so this is X is 8. Context position Y is -8. I think we're just changing the X coordinate only there. Same thing here. Actually, it's even more simple than that, isn't it? Let's see. I'm streaming for another hour, or I could end early. Family is asking me how much longer I'm going to stream. Actually, I'm going to probably try to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. End a little bit early today. You're still here, Crumpet? It's someone else in the house here is asking how long I'm going to be streaming for. I'm not done yet. Don't leave yet. I'm going to just say add 1 there. Now it's more obvious what we're doing. We're adding 1 to it. Let's just, rather than picking a magic number, let's just add 1 to Z there. Okay, the original there was 4, -7, right? 4, -7. So this is just subtracting 1. And this is adding 4. Same thing. And subtracting 1. And this is adding 1. Alright. Yeah, you can't leave, Crumpet. No leaving allowed. You can't leave. No, there shall be no leaving. Alright, so everything completely broke. Attempting to call a nil value cost. Okay, on line 603. So, does that mean this was nil here? So, oh, no, it's not. It's that I didn't name it correctly. There we go. Shouldn't I also check the other things like max cost? I feel like I should. Okay, everything passed except for this one. So it did not block the obstacle. Why not? Oh, because I haven't written the cost function yet. The cost function is empty, right? Here it is. All right, so I think I want to take the pursuit cost function and just modify it. So there's the pursuit cost function. So ignore other entities if the decision is made. Skip entities if it's marked gone. Check if an entity is another NPC. Actually, here's where we're not going to do it, right? I think if they're an we don't care if they're a player or an NPC. Actually, we want to ignore them if they are. So this should be return without a deny. So that would be it. Only it's not ignoring NPCs. Oh. The cat's getting free pets from someone else. You got a leaf or something stuck in his fur? Cat goes in the backyard, which is a protected area, picks up leaves and brings them back in, and they get stuck to his fur. Okay, what's wrong here? It's a... Wait, what? Actual was 3. Okay, so the other NPC blocked us. Oh, probably because of the way I set it up. E4, what's the... Oh, no, it's a 0. We'll go look back at this again. Did I not hit save there? You seen them take dust baths? So he'll lick the dirt off of himself, but the bigger leaves, he'll ignore them. And they're like these, like shriveled brown leaves that have little burrs in them. Yeah, he just waits for one of us to pick it out of his fur. Okay, why is this not working? It's like it doesn't want to work. Oh, wait. Did I do this right then? No, I'm doing entity equals. Huh. So, I don't know, let's print out some stuff here. So, a max cost would be deny was set to true. So, deny is only set to true here, right? So, print denied. It wasn't denied. What's going on? Oh, it wasn't permitted either. Okay, so, yeah. To make it work, I have to actually put something under those other entities in the test. So that means, okay, that's why the other test I had 2 other entities. So they were sitting underneath the 2 other characters here. So 18 and 19. And the positions are the same, but they are not PCs or NPCs. So that's 6, delete, 7, delete. And this has to be access 1 to permit. And then run them. There we go. All green lights. Okay. All right. So the only unsolved problem then is that the caches, which get put where again? This table here, nothing clears out entities that are deleted. So one idea I have is that if I was going to say if an entity is deleted, we could post an event to the ECS and about it, and then the one we could have a game system which tells the aggro search, hey, these entities need to be removed from your cache. But it could be not just that they've been deleted. It could be that they're no longer an NPC. So it's possible for an entity to become an NPC and to no longer be an NPC, and those would be equivalent to a delete in terms of like we would want to clear the cache entry. The other way to do it is the cache entries could simply be timed, and after a certain amount of time we would drop it. Actually, that might be better, because then that would allow me to make changes to the game world. Right now, if I make changes to the game world, the maps never update, and that was an ongoing problem. Oh, sorry for that audio pop there. I think it was my Chrome window. So, like, if I were to, like, draw into the world here, actually, it's more apparent when you look at the wander area for George, because that stays the same. If I were to go in here and poke a hole through here, the map for George never updates to try to go to explore out here. But if I had the caches time out and recompute every once in a while, then after a few seconds, maybe it would open up the area there. I have to put some more thought into that. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I think maybe I'll just check in what I have and then call it a day. We're done with this window for now. Sounds like a good idea. It's Friday. Alright, so I'm going to say right, add NPC aggro search. Aggro check. Actually, that's basically it. NPC aggro check subroutine. So I got less done than I thought I would get today. So I got most of the aggro, but I still need to do the anchor for wandering around. I did this. No, I didn't do this one either. The is enemy check. That will vary depending on. I need to figure out what I want to do there. Faction ID or just a simple, like, are they friendly or non-friendly? What's SS13? Get GC, get push that. Alright, all checked in. Alright, I'm going to end the stream here. Next time I work on this, I don't know if I'll do this over the weekend or I'll wait until I stream on Monday, but I have to finish these subroutines and then assemble the new NPC script from this pseudocode and then try it out in this test arena. And then I also need to push the latest code into production because the production server's lagging behind a bit. So for now, I'm going to go find someone else to raid. Following list. Who's streaming right now? I wish I could stream. I wish I could raid Red Rampage Crumpet, but Red Rampage Crumpet is not streaming right now. Alt F4. Alt F4 is still going. 9 hours. Was he doing a 24-hour stream or something? Wow. Okay, we got to raid him because he just passed the 9-hour mark. He's working on Quirk. I keep wanting to say Quark, but it's Quirk. It's like a stream helper. And let's go see how he's doing, shall we? Raiding the Alta 4 stream. Here we go. Starting the raid. Thank you for the suggestion, Akira. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask him if he's doing a 24-hour stream or not, because maybe he is. Who knows? All right. So thank you very much. I hope everybody has. I hope you all have a good weekend. I hope to see you next week. Take care.